Hello, hola, bonjour, welcome to this video. I'm going to be reviewing this lens, the Canon 85mm 1.8 USM. A really big piece of glass. Now that's kind of impressive. I am a photographer and videographer. I am a Portuguese living in France, but speaking to you in English. Okay, so yeah, this lens, it was launched into the market, I think it was in the 90s, and it was initially designed to be used on this type of camera, the Canon SLR. In this case I have the Canon EOS 5. So this is a film camera. You can see, old school. I like to shoot film as my hobby. Well, so this lens was designed initially for that type of camera. And it's considered like the Canon EF mount portrait lens. So I'm going to show you how the lens looks like when mounted on my camera. Okay, so just yep. Looks pretty nice. Just a little introduction to this lens. It has a manual to auto focus selector. It has a scale. It has the focused ring, the golden line, so that indicates that it's a mid-range type of lens. So it's not the red ring, very expensive, but it's not the plasticky crappy lens, so it's the middle ground. It has a metal mount. It has it's a 58, I think it's a 58, yes, a 58 filter mount. I currently have a filter, a UV filter, because I want to protect the glass. Some people don't like to use it, I like to use it. I bought this camera in 2016, and what I wanted to do with this lens, since at those days, in those years, I used to shoot models, so I wanted to have a trilogy of lenses, a holy trinity kind of. 3 prime lenses, a 35, a 50 and the 85mm. So that way, in a photo session, I could have a broader spectrum of focal length to have some variety in the photos. The first time I shot with this lens, I actually did a mistake. So I bought it and I never tested the lens. I immediately went to do a photo shoot with it, and that was not very smart because I did not really knew how to use the lens, because you do need to have some awareness of some potential problems that can come from shooting with this lens. When you're shooting with a short telephoto lens, you need to be careful, because any shake in the camera will make the image slightly blurry. So it's important to increase your shutter speed so that you make sure that you freeze the action. In that first photo session that I did with this lens, I thought that okay, I will increase it, but not that much. And I thought that it was sufficient, but then I realized that I need to increase a lot more. Second thing that I became aware of is that with this type of lens, even if you shoot for instance at f2.8, the focus, the depth of focus is so shallow that you probably going to have a lot of images that are slightly off. For instance, you want to focus on the eye and you end up focusing on the ear or in the tip of the nose. So I kind of discovered that for this lens I was better off shooting at 5.6 f4, because that increases slightly the depth of field and makes it more safe. I'm going to show you some images from the first photo session I did with this lens. For instance, I have this image here with the model in the bed. It was just I was just kind of getting the feel for the lens, and as you can see from the face of the model is not really sharp. I think it's a mixture of having a too shallow depth of field and insufficient speed in the shutter. So I was taking these photos and I was not realizing that this was happening. So I continued to shoot in that photo session a few more, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, and I got a lot of images that were unusable. But luckily I did get some that were usable. I'm going to show you one of those images that actually I'm very happy. So in this photo, the model, the focus is right in the model's eye. Actually, not in the eye, in the, how do you call this? Not eyebrows, eyelid, is that it? And it's right in the eyelid, and if you look at the hand, it's on the same plane. So it's perfect, and the rest of the image, it melts away. It becomes really blurry. So that was very successful. It's one of my favorite images of that year, actually. So in one hand, you can get really good results, like this very sharp image, and then it blurs away. But also, on the other hand, you can lose a lot of images because they are slightly off. So yeah, increase shutter speed, if possible like 1/500 of a second or something like that. and shoot with the aperture slightly closed, for instance f4 or f5.6, and I think you'll get better results from this lens that way. I'm going to show you a few shots that I made over 2016 and 2017, if I recall correctly, I used this lens for make a few portraits within a photo session, right? It's not my specialty to do them, but I'm going to show you from a few models. In this image in particular, I think it's a good example. You can see how the eyes and the eyebrows of the model are incredibly sharp. They are full of detail. When I look at this image, I'm really impressed. So this image here was taken in the studio with continuous light, and this was a professional shoot. This person is a how do you call, a real estate agent, and she needed a professional photo for her website. So I think that this lens is a really good, cheap solution for this type of portrait. It gets a really good result. It gets the job done for a little over 300 euros, and if you buy this lens used, maybe you can pay like 200 euros. I don't know, I haven't looked. Just to finish this little slideshow of images, I'm going to show you a photo of my cat. This was taken when he was really small. You can see this line, it starts to be autofocus, then there is this line where the focus is. The depth of field is just so narrow, right? And then after that it becomes blurry again. It's a really interesting way to see how shallow it can be. In summary, I think I would say that if you are within the Canon EF mount, and if you're planning to stay in the EF mount for a while longer, this is definitely an interesting lens. If you're doing portraits and headshots, if you're shooting models, I like to shoot models with this, and I would buy this lens used, not new, because I think you can buy it real cheap, I'm pretty sure, and it's a powerful addition in your camera bag. If you're going to migrate into the mirrorless cameras, the RF mount, well, they have a new 85mm f2 macro, but I think it's a completely different price. This is a cheap option. Also, if you are into film like I am, this lens is really cool for this type of camera. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to show you some images, some film photos I took with this camera, the EOS 5. With that lens, with the 85mm 1.8, I did a few tests a few months ago, and I'm going to show you. So that's it. That's the 85mm 1.8 USM from Canon. Really good quality, not perfect, it does have some chromatic aberration, but really good quality when you hit the focus in the person's eye, and the background just completely melts away. If that's what you want, this is a really good cheap option. It's cheap, it's small, it delivers a great image quality. It doesn't have image stabilization, and as I said before, if you want to get good results with it, make sure that you increase your shutter speed and that you don't shoot at 1.8. You try to close the aperture to f4, 5.6, and that way you'll get much better results more often. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my review, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.